I met him 8 years ago. It got pretty serious really fast. We dated a lot for a few months. It was almost inseparable. He treated me very well. Dinners out, flowers, all of the usual things that you get when you're starting a new relationship. I was very confident that I'd met somebody that I was going to marry. We had some mutual friends from our childhoods, and everybody told me that he was a great guy. He proposed to me, I believe it was in January. It was on my oldest son's birthday. I started to see a very temperamental side. It started with a smashed cell phone over just a silly little argument that he had with somebody at work. As time went on after that, it got to the point where I was seeing the temper come out more and more frequently. Every time he got mad, it seemed like something had to be thrown or broken or hit. We had a couple of altercations where we would get into a fight and I would attempt to leave the situation, and I would be followed, restrained, made to stay. I started to get a little bit scared at that point. I thought, this is just a temper, and this is something that we can find a way to control. We got married on August 22nd of that year. It rained all day. I cried all day. I knew I was making a bad decision, but I didn't realize how bad. It was almost immediately after we got married that things started happening that I wish that I had never let happen. We got into a fight and he struck my face. And so I immediately threatened to call the police. I was not gonna let somebody hit me. Of course I got an apology and, I didn't mean to do that. Everything's okay. I'll never do it again. Whenever we would fight, I was not allowed to leave. I was not allowed to go anywhere. I wasn't allowed to talk or call anyone because he didn't want anybody to know, so that I wasn't really sharing my story. I was just putting a smile on my face and moving on to the next day. I would say 3 or 4 times a week we were violently screamed at and had things thrown at us. He would call the kids losers. He would tell them that they were worthless. They all had nicknames. He called his own daughter a little bitch, and I was a whore, I was a cunt, I was stupid, I was worthless, I was a terrible mother. I was basically told that I could do nothing right. When he would call me a bad name and he would yell something at me and make me cry, Rachel would always defend me and say, don't talk to my mommy that way. And she would have tears streaming down her face. And she was trying to protect me. And I should have been the one that was protecting her. I think a lot of people's misconception of abuse is that it always is being hit or something forceful. A lot of times that's not the case. It's more of a control factor. When he realized that hitting me wasn't going to control me and that I was going to fight that, he realized that he needed to find another way to be in control. Basically, he made me feel like I was a bad mother and a bad wife, and that I was lucky to have him because nobody else would want me. He didn't want me to have a job or any money of my own, and when I would threaten to leave or talk about leaving, he told me that he would take everything away from me. He was having a problem with having a normal sexual relationship. He thought I was his property. Sex was very violent. Most of the time I ended up hurt or in tears. And there was a couple incidences where I was raped. And that's on top of him telling me that if I don't have sex with him, he's going to go find it somewhere else. And then I found out about the affair. He was supposed to start therapy after the affair, and he never did. I started going to therapy back in December, I should mention. They had put me on antidepressants and anxiety medications in order to be able to handle my own marriage, which after I started to feel better, I realized is ridiculous. So all of this was starting to be a wake-up call for me that he doesn't want to get help, and he's not making any effort. And July 1st was the day we were scheduled to leave for a vacation, family vacation. And he had left to go to town, supposedly to get something. And I called him on the phone and found out that he had decided to go to the golf course and golf. He basically verbally bashed me over the phone, asked me for a divorce. And I replied that that would be okay with me. He told me that if I even tried to leave, he was going to come and kill me, and that it was going to be the last day that I was with my kids. I knew that he had a friend with him, and he had threatened my life 100 times before, but never in front of another person. I think that's what scared me the most, and then the fact that his friend was arguing with him in the back, like, don't say that, you know you're not going to do that, and he just kept replying with, I'm going to do it this time, I'm going to kill her. I called 911 and they directed me to the Alice Paul house. My kids were all in tears, crying, not understanding why they had to leave their home. And I just told them we need to leave, it's not safe here. But when I walked into the Alice Paul house the next day and they gave me all this paperwork on abuse and domestic violence, I realized that that's what I've been doing for the last 8 years. I had to sit that day and write down everything that had happened to me. And that was a really big wake-up call. My advice to anyone out there that thinks that they might be in an abusive situation, first, you have to stop blaming yourself. You have to realize that that person isn't in control of you, and you need to figure out why you're allowing that person to have that control. You can't make excuses for them, and you can't make excuses for yourself. You have to be willing to say, this is not my fault. So now that I've left and I'm healing from the situation and things are getting better for us, I'm looking forward to graduating from college this spring. I'm actually graduating with honors, and I started my own photography business this last year, and that's been going really well for me. And I'm just very excited for a new beginning for all of us. I'm hoping that after school I'll be able to provide for my kids the way that I want to. I'm also hoping to just be able to be an inspiration to other women, and hopefully my speaking out will help somebody somewhere to realize that life gets better and that there's good things on the other side.
Say something.